We're on. We're on. We're on.
I thought you said you're doing the intros.
See, now we're going to include this meeting.
Greetings all. My name is Ian Jagan.
Right.
There you go.
We were supposed to be
Got it covered.
Ian and SP at the very last second. So I said, okay, wait, I'm doing the interviews, and then forgot that he's doing the interviews.
Hi guys, welcome.
That's such a Sid special.
I know, eh? Hi guys, welcome to No Balls Cricket. This is our West Indies special. Finally, we have someone from the land of many waters, Guyana. He's currently in isolation. He's also, because of that, he's going to be known as the isolated club cricketer. And he has about 20 other nicknames. Let's not go into what those are.
Please don't.
We used to live together. We used to play cricket in our house. There was a bin that was used as a catcher. Again, the less said
Please
about
tell
that.
them who won.
Me.
Don't forget to mention who won the most.
Me.
Anyway,
what kind of
continue.
question is that?
Continue.
Anyway.
I'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. Continue.
He's going to get his shots in at some point. But yeah,
definitely.
Lots of cricket this week. West Indies pulling off one of the most ridiculous heists of all time in Bangladesh. And, you know, finally we caught one of our West Indian friends to do a podcast with us. So here he is, Dr. Ian Jagan, Mr. Ian Jagan.
All right.
Welcome to the show.
Greetings. Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot. Happy to be here, as you just mentioned, in isolation. So, you know, happy to spend my time with you guys, especially on, you know, when West Indies are on a winning note. It's, you know, now I could face you guys and, you know, get into that conversation. You know? Otherwise, you know how that goes, right?
He's been hiding away for years because he's been too embarrassed to talk about them on air. Brilliant.
West Indies have been generally good over the last 3-4 years, just not against India.
Who has been good against India?
I mean, England just won a test like a week ago.
Yeah, there you go. So you see,
we got whitewashed in New Zealand in the test series, so you know it happens.
The guy always talking up, you know, always boasting for India, yeah?
All right. We got a lot to unpack on the show. We got the West Indies Bangladesh Test Series and, of course, India's comeback, which we will do a bit later. Let's focus on the West Indies for now. We'll start. Ian has a lot to say about this, obviously. But let's start with the first test, which has now been rechristened by No Balls Cricket. You heard it first. It's called the Miracle.
Yeah. Just very happy overall, you know. Everyone in the region just very happy. It was a well fought series, and just overall quite happy about the outcome. I think the guys showed a lot of fight, especially, you know, going there not full strength. So it was good to get the series win.
Yeah, a few really, really promising looking players coming out of that. Obviously, Kyle Mayers himself with that crazy inning, but
yeah, definitely.
I think one of the
biggest things. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead. I was just saying Nkrumah Bonner as well because you like performed in both matches.
I was discussing with a few friends the other day, and I think that's one of the best parts about this series, that we found a couple of nice, you know, new guys, Nkrumah Bonner, Kyle Mayers, a couple of good guys that, you know, really gives a lot of healthy competition to the actual test squad, which is, you know, always a good thing.
Yeah, but the real question is, who's going to give competition to Ian Bishop? He comes up with the most brilliant end of game lines.
Yeah.
No, he's the winner.
Hands down, he wins. West Indies win. Don't forget West Indies win. West Indies moment. He's just perfect.
Hands down, he wins. No competition there.
No, so okay, we'll go through the two test matches. First, of course, was the Miracle, where West Indies, to be quite honest, struggled against Bangladesh's spinners for 4 out of the 5 days, and then Kyle Mayers pulled something out of his ass on the 5th day.
A miracle.
The miracle as it happened. Couldn't have happened without Bonner and probably without Josh De Silva either, who is another big positive, I would say.
Definitely. Those were good individual performances from those guys that you mentioned, and I think you guys touched on it in the previous podcast. It was a good innings from cameos on debut, and it's just nice that they continued it in the second test, and was able to win that one also. As close as it was, it was a real close test, but nice, fun.
No, the second test was actually a much better game. But you again had good contributions. Josh De Silva, 92 in the first innings.
The rack man, Jumbo.
Where did that Alzari Joseph innings come from, by the way?
Yeah, I was just going to talk about that.
That was a good inning, yeah. Every now and again, he pulls one out. I was telling Sid the other day, he has good potential with the bat also, so just needs to focus a little bit more. He could score a few more runs, I feel, in the upcoming series.
Sorry, before we go on, I must say Lidl's brand of lemonade is getting lots of airtime this week. This is the third or fourth episode where I've been sipping on this. Maybe they should sponsor us, man.
What sponsorship coming up?
Yeah, sponsorship coming up.
You should reach out to them now.
I will.
For about 50 viewers, they can
expand their audience. All 50 viewers of us.
well, no, I'll actually view this. I'll actually go and view this episode since I've guest appearance. So now has 51.
Yeah. No. So coming back to the cricket, lots of positives as we said. Josh De Silva and Nkrumah Bonner, Mears with that ridiculous inning, and Rakeem Cornwall. His bowling in that second test was outstanding, and his catching as well.
And fielding, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, his catching is really good.
Yeah.
And Rakeem Cornwall honestly is an inspiration to all of us because we all think that athletes have to be this like chiseled, super fit person, and then now we see Rakeem Cornwall showing up with Rakeem Cornwall makes us look thin. So for someone of that build to succeed in cricket is good. I think we can revisit our cricket careers and aspirations after that.
1 minute, you definitely can't.
I set that one up on a platter.
Shots fired.
That was the juiciest full toss for SP.
I mean, that was like literally facing your bowling, basically. Because nothing else happens. I get either full tosses or long hops. I can put them at the park anywhere. Again, we have archival footage of his crap, so let's not go there. But we'll stick with the West Indies. So obviously that second test went down to the wire. It was a batting collapse that actually made it that close. It shouldn't have happened. You guys had a fairly substantial lead on the first innings.
Yeah, I was watching the second innings and with Warner and De Silva batting. After losing the night watchman quite quickly, I was disappointed with how we, fizzled away for just 117. But I don't know. Thankfully, we pulled it off with the ball. And with that being said, I think West Indies over the last 2-3 years in test matches have been winning matches mainly because of how good the bowling has been, and more so along with that, the little lower batting order sort of scenes,
No, you've got a point. I mean, they've got a very good sort of lower middle order in the batting. Yeah. And you think of the guys that are coming through now. You got Bonner, who will probably, I would say Bonner should easily walk into the West Indies first team. He just looks a very technically correct batsman. Mears would struggle, even though he played that great innings. I think he would struggle to get in above some of the guys that are already there. The only real weakness I can see is the opening slot, because that doesn't really change, does it?
Yeah, that's true. John Campbell hasn't necessarily, cemented a spot there, but I do think there's potential in him. And I don't know if you guys know, but today they've confirmed that Sri Lanka will be touring the West Indies.
Yeah,
so that starts on the 3rd of March, and there are a couple of test matches in there. So it's real interesting to see, and exciting times to see the teams that they would come up with, and just hope that we could continue progressing.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel like John Campbell is West Indies' answer to Rohit Sharma, in the sense that he's got all the talent and somehow always finds one of the stupidest ways to get out at the end of his innings.
Yeah, but hang on 1 minute. Rohit Sharma this time found a way of getting out on 161. It was still stupid.
Yeah, he just made the 169 runs first.
Yeah.
No, but
No,
I see
I
that.
agree. I mean, I agree. I think John Campbell definitely has, talent. He is talented. He is skillful, but I don't know. He just needs to, string together a few more consistent performances, and he needs to do it soon. As much as there's not of a clear cut option, I still think his time could be limited. So he needs to start pulling his weight a bit more.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Craig Brathwaite as captain, by the way? Because I honestly caught very little of the series apart from highlights, because of the time difference. So I couldn't really watch, like I couldn't really observe how he was doing in the field. So
I think he
like,
bowled better than he batted.
but
He picked up 3 wickets in that last inning.
that I saw. But more importantly, like, how is his captaincy? Because you imagine Jason Holder has that knockdown when he comes back, but as an alternative, if he's ready to step up.
Yeah, well, from what I saw, when Craig previously captained the team when Jason Ola was absent a few occasions, and he would captain the team every now and again. He used to be very, very, very defensive, right? From from the inception, he would just drop the field back, very, very defensive. On this tour to Bangladesh, he was a bit more aggressive. Good change of with the bowlers, change the bowlers well, and I think he was a bit more proactive. And I guess it showed in the series victory. Now has a series victory against Bangladesh in Bangladesh. That's pretty good.
Oh, that's pretty impressive. I mean, they're a difficult team to beat at home. But I just on that note, I just wanted to ask: does that have anything to do with the fact that the last few times he's captain, the bowling attack hasn't been as good, maybe, especially in subcontinental conditions? You've now got Cornwall, you got Warwican, you got spinners that can hold an end up.
No, the test I was talking about was just a few years ago, if so much. And the bowling attack was quite similar. It's just a matter of not necessarily just the defensive fields. That alone was a big difference in this series here. And it showed. They took wickets, they were able to pull out the win.
Yeah, it's been a strange last sort of 8-9 months for West Indies cricket since the pandemic. There was, of course, winning that first Test match against England, which sort of set the world on fire because there was no other cricket at that point. And then, of course, they went on to lose the series and lose the 2 tests that they played in New Zealand. And then winning this with, I mean, more than, I would say, I think 8 or 9 of their best players not being there.
Yeah, so with that being said, that's why I mentioned earlier, like we went to England, we won a test there. New Zealand was really difficult. Now we went to Bangladesh, we won the 2 tests in Bangladesh. That's why it's very exciting as a region to see where they go from here. Playing Sri Lanka, you would say they're relatively in line with Sri Lanka in terms of the rankings and the stage that both teams are at. And we playing at home, so it's very, very exciting times. We have we have good healthy competition in terms of the top 11, so it should be a very, very competitive series, and hopefully we could just continue in the winning ways.
Yeah, the one bit of controversy, obviously, with West Indies cricket I always want to get into is the absent players. Now, I can understand the test team because most of the guys that weren't there in the test team were actually sitting at home.
We having a nice cool Tuesday evening cricket discussion. Now you want to raise my blood pressure? What's this really? Let's stray away from this topic.
It comes with the territory of being a West Indian fan, doesn't it? In case people don't know what I'm talking about. I think the T10 league had more West Indian players than it did from Asia. No, I'm not talking South Asia. I'm saying more West Indian, all of Asia put together.
Before we continue with this question, let me ask you guys a question to hear the perspective that you guys have. How do you guys feel about all the West Indies international series against Bangladesh is taking place, and at the same time you have the T10 league where your captain Kyron Pollard is playing in the league, and all the other the majority of main ODI players are playing in the T10 league instead of the Bangladesh Premier League. With COVID being worldwide, COVID being whatever. What's your thoughts? What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I think it's ridiculous, but that's just me.
Aditya?
I agree. Like I think on the face of it, it's definitely ridiculous. Like you want to see the best players for every country playing for the country, but at the same time, I can understand why they were in the T10 league, and it's very obvious. It comes down to just the amount of money that's there on offer, and I know it's easy and sentimental to say, hey, you put country over money and all of that, but at the same time, players have a limited time to make all the income that they can. The average career is going to last like 5-10 years max, and that's when they make all their money. And especially in a time like this where anyway international cricket is getting pulled because of COVID, I think if you get the chance to cash in, I don't really hold it against them. I see where you guys are coming from, where you would prefer them to be playing for the countries, but I just feel like I can understand why they picked T10 in that case.
It doesn't make it right though.
I don't know if you're going along the lines of money, then I mean, in cases where, this is just my opinion, in cases where you have guys like, if Pollard is just gonna, for example, is just gonna go around the globe playing for money and that sort of stuff, might as well just, how old is Pollard? 30, 32? Might as well or a bit older than that, if anything, just stray away from that sort of thing and look towards building a team where you have players who just really want to represent West Indies and play primarily for them.
I think what would really help is if there were a lot more.
Sorry about that. One very quick point. Rovman Powell, when he played the ODI series and immediately after he flew over and he played the T10 league, it's possible. You could have missed the initial leg of the T10 league and then go after. I mean,
No, look, I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with either of you. I'm in that sense. All I'm saying is I can understand why some players do make that decision of prioritizing franchise cricket over international cricket. I think at this point in time, it's just one of those realities, and especially for countries where it's different if you're playing for England or Australia or India, where international cricket, you're going to get enough money anyway. And especially even without the cricket, you're just going to get ridiculous amounts of sponsorship money, especially, in a case like India. So you don't have to make that call anyway. I think it becomes a harsher reality the less money there is in the international game for those countries. Then it becomes a case of I could play for a lot more, take a lot less risk in terms of injuries and cash out when I can. I can understand why someone takes that decision. I completely see your guys' point of it does make sense, and international cricket should come above all else. Like I agree with that sentiment. I just say that I feel like I get where the players are coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I can say this last thing on this point. Like you guys, I don't think feel it. You definitely don't feel it as much because India is the IPL. It's just the IPL and stuff. In terms of, to be honest, that ODI squad that we sent to Bangladesh was bad. All right. I mean, at least the test squad had a nice mix of a few experienced guys and a few young guys. That was nice. They still had hope for the test team. The ODI team, there's absolutely no hope. There was zero hope. Apart from even Shy Hope was in there. So
yeah, I
was waiting for the pun to come up. But yeah,
there's absolutely no hope. So in terms of in that regard, we sent such a depleted squad that you're not enticed to even watch it, such a series to sometimes. And then you have your players who are playing in the T10 leagues and stuff like that. So it's kind of disheartening to some extent when things like that happen. But again, as you correctly mentioned, to each his own. Everyone has their own priorities and stuff like that. So that's how it is.
I mean, let's look forward now. We've looked at what they've done in Bangladesh. We've looked at the controversy surrounding the T10 League. Let's look forward now. There's 2 or 3 big things. Firstly, of course, is the Sri Lanka series. And a couple of questions on that. One, out of the people that have played in Bangladesh and won, other than obviously the regulars like Alzari Joseph, Shannon Gabriel, Cornwall, and the 2 openers, who walks into that? Does anybody walk into the test team?
From the guys who played currently in Bangladesh,
Yeah,
I think definitely. I think Shane Mosley will miss out. He has to go back to the regional level and try and build on from there. I think Nkrumah Bono definitely makes the playing 11 against Sri Lanka. I think with the likes of Hetmeyer, Shamar Brooks, I think with those guys being back, I don't see a place there for Kameas, unfortunately. But I do think he will still be around the group. But Bono for sure, Joshua De Silva definitely. I think he'll make the 11. And the same few like you mentioned, Alzari, Shannon, Kimar, Cornwall. And the rest stays the same. Craig.
Yeah, Craig and John Campbell. I mean, that doesn't seem like it's going to change anytime soon.
You see, when it comes to West Indies and their 11, recently, as I mentioned, the last 3-4 years with Test match cricket, the bowlers have been doing very good. So that's the standard with Roach, Shannon, Alzari, and then you have the spinner Rakim. The middle order, which Shane Dowrich, Jason Holder, they pull the middle order with the runs. Our problem has been primarily the top 4, right? Our number 2 and number 3 spot has been such a sad situation recently. But I think with Bono at 4, I think with Shamar Brooks back at 3, I think Blackwood being there at number 5, and Joshua De Silva and so on. I think we have a solid 11 that we could definitely gel and again continue winning series for West Indies.
Is there a case for pushing Brathwaite to become captain over Jason Holder?
I think it's a similar something like what you guys faced with Virat and Rahane. I think that's exactly what happened. And I don't think it'll happen. Jason Holder, for whatever reasons, as we know he didn't tour, and he wouldn't lose out on the position like that. And as much as Brathwaite did do well and he won the series, again there is some tweaking and everything, and I don't think such a drastic decision would be made. I think Holder will definitely start back in, and he'll retain his captaincy role, and they'll continue.
It's interesting. I think Sir Andy Roberts came out maybe a few weeks ago saying that basically just saying Jason Holder is a really good cricketer, but he completely slated him as captain, saying he seems to not really have a clue on the field, and just said he's completely lost. If things aren't going West Indies' way, he gets defensive very quickly. And it's I think
definitely.
No, I was saying I asked you when I asked the question about Craig Brathwaite a while ago. I did think of the parallels with Rahane and Kohli, but and wondered if that would apply here as well. But I think there have been some questions over Jason Holder as a captain when things aren't entirely going West Indies' way.
But that happens really often. So you can see with. hang on. No, I'm stating a point here. You can see
funny but true. Funny
but true. It happens really often, and you can see it with teams like the West Indies, and you even saw it in fact in Australia where when things weren't going Tim Paine's way, he went really defensive. I think it's just the modern way. Even in that first Test match between India and England, you did see Kohli push fielders back and push them into defensive positions. I just think it's the modern way. I don't think. I think it's not a comment on Holder's captaincy as much as the modern way, but.
And I think it's also fair to point out. I mean, no offense, Ian, but I feel like West Indies quite often when they go up in a Test match, they're usually going to be the weaker side. So Jason Holder's
All right. Let's see when we play Sri Lanka in March how that comment stands.
Listen, the only time the West Indies don't ever go into a test series as the weaker side is against England. Because somehow the English managed to, like, I don't know whether it's like the weight of history, but they managed to rile them up in some genius way or the other, calling them.
Yeah, I know.
What was it? Firstly, of course, you go back all the way back to Tony Gregg and the whole groveling thing. But more recently, I remember I think it was the ECB president at that point, where he called West Indies a mediocre side.
Yeah.
And then they lost the series, or they drew the series, I think, but lost the first match. Yeah.
And the last time that they went,
always comes about. Yeah.
The last time England went to the West Indies, somebody said something else, that they were not a very good team or something of that sort, and they got absolutely spanked in the first two tests.
On that note, very quickly, I mean, it's nice that Sri Lanka is touring. Yeah, so that's it when it comes to West Indies and the Bangladesh tour. It was nice fun. But I just want to see progression. I just want to see they continue. I don't want to see back to old ways against the Sri Lankans when they come. Hopefully they just continue winning, and at least not necessarily not just winning, but fighting. So showing some sort of fight and the want to win, not just get rolled over.
I have a few parting questions now before we wrap this segment up. First of all, first most important thing, the World T20 is this year. It's happening in India at the end of the year. The West Indies are always going to the World T20 as favorites. They're probably the best six-hitting sides in the world. It's like your format. You have to own it.
Yeah, on that note, I have a quick question for you. Parting question, as you call it. Have you recovered from that defeat from Wankhede when West Indies beat India in the semi-finals?
Yeah. I've recovered from that. We've won in Australia twice. Yeah, I've recovered from that.
That's right. Still lost the semis against West Indies. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, no, that was the last time the West Indies won the World Tour. Last time the World T20 was held, actually, all the way back in 2016. That seems a long time ago now, doesn't it? Yeah, so I mean, this is going to be a really exciting tournament. I mean, we haven't had one since then. And I'm looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm sure everybody in the West Indies is, because it's like their favorite format. I mean, the West Indian love for T20 cricket is something else, man. They make it, as with all cricket, you watch a good West Indies side and they make it like lively and alive. Yeah, and the champion dance and yeah. No,
I'm sure Ian's looking forward to seeing Carlos Brathwaite back in the side.
Okay, this is where I take my leave.
No. Wait. I'm not done. I have two more questions for you.
He can't leave the commentary box, dude. Leave him right there. He's in the commentary box. What was he doing? Commentated with the big? No, he was playing the Big Bash. The guy, what was it? He doing some Facebook lives or something.
He was on Cricinfo.
Leave him right there.
He's been doing Cricinfo punditry that I've seen.
I mean, it's not much to go by because Cricinfo have Sanjay Mandrekar. So, like,
joke.
Also, most important question, right? Does Shannon like boys?
Does who?
Does Shannon like boys? In case no one knows what we're referring to, during the test series between England and the West Indies, the last time they played, Shannon Gabriel was actually giving demerit points. I can't believe I'm about to say this, because he threw a ball. Joe Root was staring at him, and he looked up at Joe Root and just said, "What are you looking at? You like boys?" And to clarify for some people that are not familiar with the West Indian way of talking, Ian, take it away.
You like boys? There's nothing to explain.
I don't think there's anything to clarify there.
No, Root's response, of course, was that he was being homophobic.
You don't need me to explain that one. When we get a bit more complex with the rants and the lines, then yeah. But You like boys as you like boys. Do you like boys?
Oh man, that was just golden.
Anyway, guys.
Right. That's our roundup of what's been going on in the world of West Indies cricket. Yeah.
It was nice being part of the pod for this segment. You guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And
It was fun having you.
It was fun having you.
definitely
This was
was.
excellent. Finally, we got to do this. We've been talking about the whole Guyana crew and the fantasy stuff and Caribbean things for a long, long time. It was great to actually have a West Indian on the pod.
Are you guys doing another fantasy for IPL this year?
Yeah, of course. IPL's coming up, and we're doing fantasy.
Yeah, we're supposed to, depending how it goes. If
Yeah.
we are, you could join and let me take your money, not Sid.
Yeah. No, it's been great fun. I mean, obviously we're going to do more fantasies and that's going to be covered on our podcast. So it'll be excellent. We'll have tables and graphs and hopefully the commissioner as well. And yeah, we'll join you in the next segment, guys. Thanks for watching.